Welcome to this episode of Distill with Red J. This is the road to 3.14 with brand new information confirmed today by Disco Lando on Spectrum. Before we start, please, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all of that fun stuff. It greatly helps the channel. Today, we found out the list of everything that 3.14 has to offer confirmed. And if there is any surprises, I'll be sure to cover them. But what we have today is the Planet Crusader updates, the Orison landing zone on Crusader in the high atmo that we've talked about quite a lot. We have planetary volumetric clouds, which are going to be in support of Crusader and the Orison landing zone above it. We have Xenothreat Remastered, which is going to be a ongoing type of PvP and PvE content, and will be tied into the Ninetales Lockdown. Ninetales Lockdown being Xenothreat on steroids, essentially, where they will quantum jam a station if it gets far enough, and players will need to make the decision of whether to side with the pirates or side with UEE and Civilian Defense Forces, the CDF, and try to repel the invaders. And the actions of the players and the NPC fleet's activities will disable or re-enable Quantum and also play with the market through the new Quanta system, the Tier 1 implementations of Quanta. Also, we have power management coming in, which, as they note here, formerly known as capacitors, where this will touch every single subsystem on a ship and change its dynamics. Capacitor, it'll be forever capacitors to me. That's the word they've been throwing around since the beginning. But power management's going to impact shields, weaponry, your cooling systems. Every step of the chain that you have for each system on board will change quite a lot with capacitor gameplay, and there'll be a lot more momentum to what you're doing. If you're pushing those engines very hard, it will hurt you even more to not have the upgraded modules or the correct kind of modules. Like, for example, industrial have high endurance, but a military type engine would have more possible speed, acceleration, maybe let you keep it going a little harder, but over time it will wear it down. So there's a lot of interesting mechanics that go into the different kind of modules and how they will impact capacitor gameplay, aka power management, to be fair. Radar scanning and ping, we talked about that just yesterday, where the first iterations of possible deep safes will be tied into micro jumps, and we will need this type of scanning and probe and ping gameplay to be able to hunt down in the cat and mouse game that will occur for PvP and PvE content alike. Also, this will add in a whole new world of PvE content where it's not just warp to a beacon that you already can see and go shoot the bad guy and leave. There'll be exploration tied to this. There will be missions tied to this that involve having to find your targets, and it'll be an entire skill set. Very exciting stuff. Furthermore, confirmed is missile guidance and control rework. Now, missile guidance has been something that's been very frustrating to players because you basically have to look straight at a target that's right in front of your windscreen. And on some ships, like, for example, the Freelancer MIS, which suffers the same issues as most of all the Freelancer series, where it has limited visibility, that can be a problem. You may or may not be able to see your target. Yes, in theory, you can look right through the metal and target something, but it still has to be in a general cone around the front of your vessel, and that's also very disorienting gameplay-wise. So refactoring missile guidance and controlling the missiles, anything is good there, any new developments to further make missiles more usable. And the missile operator mode that they're confirming for 3.14 will help tie that together and help support those changes. The law system improvements, including surrender, are kind of in flux. I can't wait to see what they will do with it. From the rumor mill side of things, and this will be the only rumor I believe in this episode, there is discussion of a type of scanning for illicit substances on your vessel. Like, say you're running an entire vessel full of of different kinds of drugs that are illegal in Stanton, for example, and you're trying to take them between two locations. If the customs officials scan you and they say, hey, you've got something bad on board, you've got two options now. You will be able to stop your engines and stay still just like you were when you were being scanned. And basically they will, your screen will go black and you'll end up in prison, but you'll be there for much less time. Or you can try to fight or run your way out and get lit up, or you might even get away. Who knows? And then have to go lay low for a while and have a big crime stat and have a much longer prison sentence if you're blown up or if you get caught eventually while that happens. So there is a lot of talk to this. I do not think surrender will be something that will be game-changing for a lot of players, but I hope that when they iterate this to make it more meaningful, they will either lessen or literally remove the countdown timer for your ship. Because like we've talked about before, you have to wait. So you finally get out of prison, say a half hour later or 15 minutes later on your reduced sentence, and then have to start the counter for your only ship if you're a small time backer, or if that just happens to be your bad luck. It was your one ship that you had left that was ready to use, and now you have to wait. That would be pretty rough. If the surrender mechanic also applies to ship returning speed, once you get out of prison, bam, you can jump in your ship, or hey, you only got a 5-minute wait for your ship instead of 20 minutes or something, and then have to pay to expedite or not have that ability if you don't have the UEC. Heck, you just got busted with all your stuff, right? That would be greatly helpful, I think, to players. So I hope that the surrender mechanic is more meaningful by also lowering ship return rates. We'll see. Canvas sliced ship HUDs. So we have seen previews of some of the HUDs. I hope to have an episode soon on all the UI improvements, including HUD changes. But I think that the HUDs are very interesting, the changes that are being made and how they're trying to right size across the board to look a lot more like the Gladius's HUD. I would say that there's a lot of information on there. So I hope that they allow you to customize HUDs, and that'll be something I'll talk about at least in depth and try to compare and contrast different companies' HUDs, because they do have a different look to each one. Even the color schemes and such are completely different on some of the ships. If you ever jumped into a glaive or a blade, you will know what I mean. They are literally dark red, blood red, and have a completely different scheme. It's not just the voices and for the audio of the ship and how the ship behaves that change. The literal HUD and the mechanics of the buttons and things can be completely different. Even on ships that are well developed and recently passed through and things like that, you can clearly see that there is meant to be differences. But HUD should always have some level of commonality so you can understand a ship pretty easily and easily access that ship. A hauler should always have a hauling HUD, for example, or at the very least allow you to customize HUDs to match relatively similar ways. And finally, on the 3.14 confirmed list, we have confirmation of the Connie Taurus. This is another thing I hope to have an episode on soon. Be on the lookout for that this week, and may have a friend on board for that one. So very exciting stuff. The Connie Taurus is a great all-arounder ship. It can internally haul its goods, and it also has the ability to haul a vehicle, as far as we know at this point. Now, the Connie Taurus is a different beast than the Raylan. I've heard a couple different people say, well, I got a Raylan. Why would I need that? The Connie Taurus is a different beast. For people that are used to the Connie type ship and they want some commonality in their fleet, or being able to trade modules very easily and know they will work no matter what, or people that want to internally haul cargo or have that versatility of having a vehicle on board, there is a lot of value to having a Connie Taurus. I would say that this ship is going to go up a little bit in price, and that's about as far as I can go, because I want to do an in-depth episode and really do some research on this, see what kind of SCU we're talking about, and do some compare and contrast with competitors in that bracket. But I'm very excited to see how the Taurus will go. It'll be quite an interesting ship. And to capstone this episode, this discussion, I wanted to talk about what we know for this week in Star Citizens, which was also published today. So for those that don't know, Mondays are usually the day where they kind of give you the lay of the land for the rest of the weekdays coming up. So community manager Wayne talked to us a little bit about different things coming up, and he noted that on Tuesday there will be a lore team post about Admiral Marlin and the fate of the UEES Flyza. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And for my channel viewers, I know that they'll be more interested in these upcoming things, especially because a lot of them have a Railin or are interested in picking up a Railin. On Wednesday, there will be a Gatak Railin Q&A with developers to answer your most voted questions on the new Exian cargo ship. Thursday, there'll be the season finale of this quarter's ISC. So those who don't know, ISC will go into hiatus after this. Do expect some great blockbuster content for this. They usually do for that. And it will discuss, quote, everything, end quote, coming to Alpha 3.14 with a patch report. So there will be report outs from multiple teams across the board. They will probably not go too in depth on any specific topic, but they will hit on a lot of exciting things. Be sure to be on the lookout for that episode of ISC. And then finally on Friday, there'll be a update to the subscriber vault, RSI newsletter, and very, very, very exciting stuff coming out of, we will welcome Star Citizen Live director Todd Pappy and the art director, I'm a great fan of, Ian Laillard, talking about Alpha 3.14 in Star Citizen Live. Now, this is something that this is the only piece of speculation I'm going to have, okay, on this episode, at least on this episode. There is a good chance if you bring Todd Pappy out if you bring Todd Pappy out, I want to temper expectations here. This is speculation, but there is a good chance they will give us an update on Theaters of War. For those who do not know, Theaters of War was a very promising Battlefield-like combined arms game mode that was trying to combine the good elements of Star Marine, the good elements of Arena Commander, and all of the universe side things, so the PU, the persistent universe information, into these scenarios where you could have up to like 32 on 32 player versus player combat with different modes that start on the ground with rovers and tanks and ballista and ground troops, and you can respawn each time you die right inside the game. And then it will devolve into ships that if one side is able to take the first points, it would devolve into ships in the air. And then if it continues on, it goes into space with a gigantic platform with a laser on it, where the UEE forces have to try to take that platform off of the aggrieved pirates who are trying to destroy the planet with the laser. Very exciting things. Pappy has said in the past that this is not the only game mode, and there's at least one other game mode he said they are testing out for internal development. And so they're hoping to have two different maps for those who are fans of the series of Battlefield or Arma or any combined arms game of this type. It's very hard to kind of pick one. I guess PlanetSide would be a good comparison of what they're trying to go for. But they have said that this is not only just a gameplay to kind of play back to the backers to enjoy, but also a way for them to play test all these different modes quickly. So how many people can an Ursa rover take on? Is it too strong in game mode? Is a tank too strong? Is a ship absolutely able to dominate ground combat? And do we really want that? What is a ballista's range actually effectively able to do? I know, are ships able to hide behind a building and then a ballista's useless, or is a ballista too strong? And how do ground forces compute into everything, especially if you have an outpost we're both fighting over or something? Very exciting stuff. There was a lot of issues with desyncing from what we heard through the grapevine, through rumors. And I'm not going to go into speculation on this beyond just the fact of, if they're bringing Todd Pappy into a discussion, it's not the only thing he's into, but this is a passion project of his, and it's one of his top priorities was to get Theaters of War put into a usable state. I would not be surprised if he at least gives us an update on where the testing is with Theaters of War. And, okay, slightly more speculation. Who knows? Maybe a 3.14 or a 3.141 iteration of that first map brought into at least the PTU. Sorry, take my speculation hat off. I promise that will be the last of it. But that's kind of it. There's very exciting stuff coming up. I would like to do an episode on the Connie Taurus, hopefully with a friend. We'll talk soon about that. Please keep your eyes peeled either way for that discussion. Once we start seeing updates on Orison and a lot of the discussion about Xenothreat and Ninetales Lockdown, if we get some updates on that, I would love to do an episode on that. And I'm also thinking of doing an episode on UI, radar scanning and ping mechanics, and missiles. I'm kind of going to tie them all together and these common operating pictures that a pilot or a cockpit team would be dealing with day to day, and how that's going to impact your gameplay across the board. I do not pick favorites with ship manufacturers. Those who have seen me chat know I have preferences, but I try not to have those preferences weighted in my discussions. If there's a specific thing, like, sorry, I picked on the Freelancer, for example, but that's just a very specific one. The Freelancer MIS is a fantastic vessel, and so is the rest of the Freelancer series for its size, but you get the point. It has limited visibility compared to some of its competitors. That's the only reason I picked on it. It's still an awesome, awesome ship, and I can't wait to see how it shakes out compared to all the rest when it gets its golden pass. That'll do it for this episode of Distill with Red J. It's kind of like a summation of this week. Please, once again, like, comment, and subscribe. It greatly helps the channel. And it also offers feedback. If you're too nervous to talk on YouTube, do not hesitate to poke me on Discord. I am available at the link below as our main Discord, Orions.pro, that I'm affiliated with. And also that I am available at redj #0001 directly. Either way, I'll gladly chat with you. I love catching up and finding out different ideas. And if you have a show thought, if there's something, hey, I really don't like the way this is, or even just a technical discussion, I would love to discuss many different things with folks. Have a great day. Be safe.